Is this thing working? Are we live? It looks like we're live. What's happening, everybody? Hope everybody's having a fantastic whatever day you're watching this. If you are new to the channel, welcome to my background noise generator. Coming on a little bit late tonight because my computer decided it wanted to have some kind of a, I don't know, update session that soaked up a ton of time. So coming in a little bit late, but nonetheless, we made it. Anyway, if you're new to the channel, this live show thing that I do is basically my opportunity to interact directly with you guys. It's also an opportunity for me to work through standalone videos that just didn't quite get made for whatever reason. And so there's that. It's also basically to act as background noise, talking mainly about bikes, motorcycles, stuff like that. So anyway, we'll get into some car stuff every once in a while. Let y'all know what is going on in my world, but that is about it. So let me check in with you guys real quick, and you'll hear me going back and forth with some of the folks that are in. Lime is Ryan McKenzie is in, saying what's up, Speed Freak. Good evening, Beast. So you ever miss your old Hellcat? No, I don't. That, you know what's funny is the Hellcat question comes up rather often, and or at least it comes up in conversations a lot. Not so much on this channel anymore. And look, here's the problem that I have. Okay, so do I miss the car? Kinda, but I don't miss the liability of owning it. And I think the problem with that car is that the liability exceeded the satisfaction of actually having that car. The other thing too is I had pretty much done everything that I was going to do with that car. Um, you know, I trading back and forth, you know, the record for stock boost national or stock boost 93 octane, that record that nobody really seemed to care about except for me and like maybe 12 of you guys and then Jim Opar. Um, you know, the funny thing is that that's about as far as I really could get that car in my head. And when our drag strip shut down, it just didn't make any sense for me to keep the car on the payroll, so to speak. Um, you know, and Ryan, yeah, nailed it. Said he misses his old SRT 392 more than the Hellcat. Yeah, I kind of do. And the reason for that is the Hellcat, damn, you know, it's kind of funny. You know, we talk about bikes on this channel and you go, well, GSXR 1000, people will say, oh, it's too much power for the street. My response was always that it's just a pussycat. It just will haul ass. Well, appropriately described, right? Because the Hellcat, when you set it up right, it is an amazing car to drive. But the only time you can really enjoy the thing is when you are extracting power out of it. And you never really get the sense that you're having fun in a Hellcat. It's more of a job when you're dealing with those kind of cars. It's not the same with bikes, but it is like that with the Hellcat. The Scat Pack stuff, on the other hand, you can just have fun with it. And, you know, it just seems to me that there was less to have to worry about, less to have to deal with. You know, there are times where I just kind of kick myself in the ass for getting rid of that car. So, you know, if I were to, you know, if I were to say, you know, if you're to ask which one would I recommend, if you've ever thought about spending the money on one or the other of the cars, I would probably steer you into the 392 powered contraption first. And I would say, look, get a 2019 and up car so that you make it past all of the, just a lot of the electrical issues. That's one of the problems that I ran into the most with the Hellcat, was just electrical problems left, right, and center, and my SRT as well. But after, say, 2020, 2019, 2020, you're past a lot of those issues. Yeah, grab you one of those cars I wouldn't even put a tune on it. I would just drive the thing, enjoy it, and know that you've got one of the best interpretations of an American muscle car that you'd be able to buy. The downside to the anything 392 powered is that the Hellcat exists, right? It's in the world. But the problem is that for most folks, the delta, the price difference between Hellcat and Scat Pack is just going to be too much to overcome. Matter of fact, Smoking Hot and I were talking, and I'm not in the market for another Challenger or anything like that, but we were talking about it, and I thought, man, there was a brief second where I just about had it with the Hellcat stuff when the drag strip was still open. The Hellcat was going to go on the chopping block, and I was going to get a 1320 and just set up the 1320 to put one of my cams in it, long tubes, pretty much leave it at that, and have a car that was going to be a high 10-second naturally aspirated Challenger and just kind of go from there. So Mom's in. What's up? Hello. So checking in. Everything looks great. Lovely. Hey, Mom. Ryan saying cheaper insurance. Actually, the insurance was about the same between the two. Oh, Speed saying, I do wish they still made the Scat Packs. All the used ones are beat up. Yeah, it's a great street car. I tell you what, here's the thing. If you can just find any generic, Scat Pack, Shaker, any of them, the good thing is that they're very durable cars. There's a couple of things I would have kind of liked to see them do a little bit different. Yeah, it should have come with an HP90 transmission, but that really only becomes an issue if you start throwing boost at that thing. If you can find a good one, they're a really hard car to beat in terms of a driving experience. It's just one of these types of headaches with the Scat Packs that, you always run into the Mustang driver on the highway. You're never going to touch a Mustang when it comes to roll racing. Mustang's going to have hell to pay if they ever run into a Challenger on a drag strip. But it all depends on what your goals are and what you like and what you value the most, right? And so now, we're talking about would it be great if they still made that car? It would be, but it would be better if they made a car that would work with the Hurricane engine platform. Because, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, my Ram with the Hurricane is really good. I'm going to be putting out more and more content in the coming months on that truck. But, man, I got to tell you, it's been an eye-opening experience getting this truck, spending some time with it. And it's better in every measurable metric than the Hemi in terms of power, driving experience, richness of available power. Everything that you can measure is better. The problem is that new Charger platform is criminally heavy. And it's going to be quick, I guess. Quicker, or at least every bit as quick as the outgoing RT. But God, the amount of money, just the amount of cash you got to throw around to get one of those vehicles is just a little bit prohibitive as far as I'm concerned. Gary, thank you very much, man. Where you been hiding at? Thank you very much. I appreciate the support, my friend. Got the flex. I like it. But yeah, it's been kind of a trip getting used to driving that truck. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because there's rumors that the new Charger, almost called Challenger, there's rumors a new Charger is going to have some type of a Hemi offering in it. And to that, I just say, okay, great. But if the trucks have anything to say about how that car is going to get down the road, man, I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be hell to try to beat one of the Hurricane engines. And that car needs a lot of torque. And that's where the Hurricanes come in just absolutely blazing, is that they've got such a rich torque production. And so to talk about that a little bit, if you haven't had a chance to spend time with one of the Hurricane platforms, again, thank you, Gary, very much, brother. I do appreciate that a ton. If you haven't had an opportunity to spend time with one of the new Hurricanes, this is how it drives. So you almost have to like let your mind wander for a minute, but if you could take most of the torque of a 3.5 EcoBoost in a Ford truck, and if you could take a little bit of the bottom end torque of that engine out and just add that power up top, that's what it feels like to drive. It's got way more tip in torque than the 5.7 Hemi does. And it has a whole lot more tip in torque than the 5-liter does. Just that rolling into the throttle. I mean, it will march on my old F-150. No problem with that. But more to that point, where the 3.5-liter Ford EcoBoost, where it'll kind of nose over, like you get this big rush of torque and then it falls flat. The standard output Hurricane doesn't do that. Standard output Hurricane just kind of keeps making power out to about 5,500 RPM. So, you know, it's kind of one of those things where you get the best of all worlds with that engine. And I mean, I find myself, I'm not kidding. I was telling Orange Crush this. I'll find myself driving that truck and it's so quiet. It's so smooth. And it's making so much torque, you get the impression that you're going a lot slower than you really are. And of course, the interior is far and away just miles better than the Ford was. So, man, I mean, I end up, you know, looking down and I'm going a lot faster than what I'm perceiving to be going. So that's kind of a good thing. And it tows great, really well. It tows really well, which is great. Significantly better than that 5-liter did too. And it's getting about almost 2 points better in terms of miles per gallon. So fuel efficiency is up quite a bit with that vehicle too. Oh, Ryan's saying, hello, Skid. Say, Gary. Ryan's saying, Armac went to Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue. Very nice. Gary saying, long time no talk, miss your lives. Yeah, good to see you, brother. Yeah, still doing them, a lot of bike content, but going to be getting a bit more back into Mopar now that I've got the truck. So that's gonna be fun. But yeah, it just kind of stinks, man. Not having a drag strip down here is driving me nuts. But the Draggy is on the Charger. I'll tell you what, and I did Draggy the new Ram, and dude, the new Ram, this is the thing that is really kind of annoying me more than anything. Okay, check this out. The new Ram, keep in mind, is a lot heavier than my Ford. I haven't weighed it. I'm not even going to bother to weigh it because I'm going to be shocked. I'll get to it, I'm sure, at some point. But anyway, it is 0.2 of a second quicker, 0 to 60 in the same conditions versus my tuned F-150 with the Coyote. And as far as quarter mile in the same conditions, albeit with significantly more fuel in the tank with the Ram, not running in the very light condition that I was with the Ford, it's still quicker to the quarter mile by about 1/10 of a second. And you got to remember that the Ram is going into component protection way early into that run. So or at least it feels like it is. So by every measurement, that truck is it. By every measurement, it's quicker. And the other funny thing about it is that it's always in its torque curve. So I mean, look, I'm gonna have to, you know, I'm eating crow on this one. Oh, and the other thing, uh, talking about fuel quality, yeah, it's a big deal for that engine, but it was also a really big deal for the Coyote. So let's not try to, say that these, Atmo engines are getting off here scot free. The Coyote was every bit as sensitive to fuel quality in terms of power output as the Hurricane standard output is. But okay, so from a performance standpoint, it's the quickest of the trucks that I've owned that aren't my Lightnings. So, but what about the Hemi? It's it's kind of funny because the Hemi makes better tip end torque than the Coyote did, and you could mainly tell that when towing. But with the Coyote having access to a 10 speed, a lot of times it would downshift and you would be able to take a little bit of advantage of gearing. But I don't know, getting away from all of that, the Hemi cannot hold a candle to the Hurricane as far as a driving experience. Now, reliability has yet to be seen. And I'm trying to put the video together for a comparison between Buffy and what all arguably the most reliable of the Buffies that were in the fleet, which at one time I think totaled 27. I think we're down to about half of that now. But what levels of reliability would I expect out of this new Hurricane engine? And what kind of reliability did the Hemi really have in a real world application that spanned 8 years and 230,000 miles? So that's one that I'm trying to put together, and I'm just having a hard time making that work. So I'll probably end up covering that on a live show, or with like a Riding with Brian or something like that. Speed Freak's asking, oh, Itch is in. Good day to you. Do you still have Foxy? I do, absolutely. Ryan's saying, I like the road, just not the damn price tag. Price tag, everything sucks right now. Ryan's asking, will the H6 make its way into another car from Dodge that isn't 6,000 pounds? Good question. Maybe a Cougar, an Omni or something midsize would rival Smokin's Beamer. Okay, so man, you talk about opportunities lost. I've never seen in full bloom the absolute ignorance from a manufacturer like what we're seeing from Dodge. The Hurricane 6, this whole story writes itself. An inline 6 engine in something, call it a Starion, call it a Conquest, call it a Talon, call it something. Harken back to the Cold War kids era. Give us something cool like that. Give you two options: Hurricane standard output and Hurricane high output. Make it all-wheel drive. Make it, I don't know, who cares? Do whatever you want, but make it so that engine can find a home. And for guys like me who grew up with imports, 6-cylinder turbos, 4-cylinder overhead cam stuff, 4-cylinder turbos. Hell, my first car was a 4-cylinder turbo. You've got to remember that the V8 thing, look, we're at a weird spot with V8s right now. And, I don't really want to switch gears too far, but just walk with me on this. we're at a weird spot with V8s because of metallurgy and technology and engine management systems being so sophisticated now. And it was because of small 16 valve 4 cylinders and turbocharged 4 and 6 cylinders that all of this technology existed, that V8s have been on a bit of a life support system for a long time. So much so that what you have to remember about the modern V8, whether it's a 5.7, 6.4, 6.2 Chevrolet, a Coyote V8, it doesn't matter. These are race engines by the standard of 25 or 30 years ago when they were put originally on life support. There is nothing aside from the number of cylinders and number of valves that connects the dots between a modern V8 like an LT from GM, for example, and something like you would find in like a 92 Camaro Z28. There's nothing there. There is so much more technology and so much more going on with that engine. There's literally at this stage of the game nowhere else to go in terms of development. You are living through a very historic period in time where there's, outside of being able to standardize 100 octane gasoline and having higher compression ratios, there's no way to extract more power out of the engines that you are very familiar with. Every conceivable option has been employed. And so when you think about it like that, these engines they're made lighter. They're not really stronger, but they are strong as hell considering the amount of power that they can take. But the issue now is that you start talking about, 6-cylinder turbo, whatever, you could have turboed a Hemi. Kinda. But the problem is that the block in a Hemi was never designed for boost. Even Dodge engineers will tell you. Fun fact, the Hellcat engine was derived from the 392. A lot of folks don't realize that the Hellcat engine was originally going to be a 392, and that didn't fly for whatever reasons. And then they put the 5.7 crank into the 392 block. That gives you 6.2 liters. And that engine, by the way, still exists. The original development 392 with the IHI supercharger, somebody's got it. And I've seen an article online. One of you guys, if you can find it, if you're interested in it, check that out. It's a pretty interesting read. But anyway, getting back to it, you're going to have to start seeing better blocks. You want to really get some real power out of a V8, you've got to make the block and design it around having boost. BMW has done this. Mercedes-Benz has done this. Audi has done this. And now Dodge has done this with their Hurricane series of engines. All manufacturers have done this on some level. But look, you can extract so much more efficiency in terms of power per kilo of engine with boosted engines, but that is not to be misconstrued necessarily with fuel economy. It just means that in certain steady state situations you'll have less fuel consumption, and in certain short bursts you'll have all of and then some more power than a V8, a bigger displacement engine. Except now, with modern fuel delivery, with modern engine management, with all the modern amenities that you've got, God, what the hell just flew up my face? With all of that working for the car now, you've got the ability to literally run the car, run that engine at any altitude, at any load level, and not worry about failure because you've designed it around boost. And that's where the Hurricane really does come into its own. So anyway, it'd be cool if they gave that engine a proper home and not something that's, the barge that they're putting it into. Right, saying, Give a scamp with all-wheel drive with the H06. Yeah, the H06 is no joke. But here's the thing, H06 is no joke, but the standard output makes more torque down low. And it makes more partial throttle torque. Because it's got smaller turbos and they spool up real quickly. It's not that the HO can't do it, it's just physics. Smaller turbos spool up quick. It's one of the reasons why SOs have better towing. Ryan saying new Charger is too dang big, even in person. Yeah, it looks a little bit better up close, but wow, is it huge. The problem is, here's the problem, Ryan. Look how far away you've got to be from that car to not be up close to it. Guys, if you haven't seen the new Charger in person, it's a very striking looking car. Provided it's a stage 2 scat pack and it's the right color to where it kind of mutes the actual physical proportions of that thing. If it were an inch wider, it would have to have the lights on it that you put on a truck. It's gargantuan. The sheer volume of space that thing takes up is, it will make you take pause when you see the thing. I mean, shit, you look at it and it needs an HOV12 Hurricane to move that thing around the way that it should be moved around. Ryan saying it's a boat for sure. It certainly is. Gary's asking, what about a dual overhead cam Hemi, a redesign? Man, I tell you what, bro. And I keep saying this, I swear to you, this is like some kind of Mandela effect. And I cannot find this. And I was thinking, did I dream this stuff up? But then Steve Magnante was talking about it. There was a time, okay, let's go in the Wayback Machine. Back in like 2017, when the LX platform was technically on its way out. Remember that? Because the Alfa Romeo Giulia platform was going to be the new Charger Challenger. And then they were like, well, no, we can't do that because it doesn't hold the V8. We need to run with the Giulia platform. And they were going to, that was going to be your new car. And they were going to have a 5.X, like 5.5 liter, we'll just shoot for that number, 5.5 liter dual overhead cam engine. And although technically you can't have a dual overhead cam Hemi, they're all Hemis. They're all dual overhead cam engines are technically a form of Hemi called a pentaroof. And so, and some people will argue that is more Hemi than the Gen 3 Hemi that we have. That's just semantics, and that's a lot of whatever. But anyway, yeah, all dual overhead cam 4-valve engines are a form of Hemi. And it was going to be the new Hemi, the DOHC Hemi, and it was going to be very much a la like Project 904 was back in the day. And then nothing. It's almost like as soon as that got out into the world, it was absorbed or something. The labor agreement at Brampton was, I guess, refreshed, and they kept making Hellcats, because you have to remember that the Demon was the swan song for the LX platform. The OG Demon, that was supposed to be it. Like, we're going to make this car, we're sending it out, I mean, Vikings funeral style. But then they re-upped the labor agreement, and they couldn't let this cash cow go out to pasture. And so they just, I mean, absolutely kept milking the living hell out of the platform. Well, we all know where all that ended up. And, you know, the big kicker for all of this is that while they knew that platform was on borrowed time, and when I say borrowed time, I mean, it was no secret that there was no way in the world that car was going to live past, at one point, 2022. And then it got re-upped. Everything just got really weird with that whole like cleared, kept shocking the LX platform into existence, but they didn't have any backup plan except for the STLA large, medium, and small platforms that Stellantis was driving. And a lot of us, and I was saying this back in the day, a Chimera platform is going to be heavy. If you're not familiar with what a Chimera platform is, trust me, you're doing better than most. This is some nerd shit, so get ready. A Chimera platform is a platform that will manage internal combustion, full electric, and hybrid, and all within the same platform. And the reason why you don't really want a Chimera, which is what the Charger is, and the reason why you don't necessarily want that is because you've got to build a Chimera chassis, the body and everything that makes that vehicle very heavy duty, because with minor changes in production line, you've got to be able to have a chassis that can deal with the kind of weight that these batteries are going to laden that chassis with, right? So without having 2 or 3 different running line platforms, you make one that can adapt both ways. But I mean, it's kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. And in this case, you get the worst of both worlds, whichever direction that you go. And in this case, it's heavily biased towards the EV, and we all know how well that's been doing. So anyway, yeah, the dual overhead cam Mopar Coyote type of an engine was the one that we were all kind of geeked out about at one point, but it was a flash in the pan. And again, I cannot for the life of me find any. I went back looking like, where was this? I know we talked about it and I know this was a thing, and I still can't find anything on it. So I don't know how it got scrubbed, but we ain't getting it, unfortunately. I'd say I think you just have to have that car if you're a buyer. There are going to be so many better performance-based cars to choose from. Oh yeah, for sure. Well, and here's the thing, it's the money of the thing. They are just so obnoxiously expensive. But I've heard some rumors that the Scat Pack HO version of the Charger is not going to be crazy expensive. I've heard rumors that it was going to be in the mid 60s. And if that ends up being the case, that's going to open up that car to a very big audience. And look, if that is the case, I mean, I'm not saying that it's not a Hellcat beater, although with, like a Cat 5 from Diablo or whatever, these standalone tuners, they're getting some pretty decent numbers out of these engines. But I think that the reality is going to kick in pretty fast, that you've got no tuning capability with that engine. They're going to hit speed limiters or component protection very early. And what happens is that what looks really pretty on a dyno doesn't really translate into the real world. When you can't turn off torque modifiers, you're kind of stuck with what you got. But yeah, you end up with a car that's just, it's going to be good. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's going to be real good, but you're going to end up with a vehicle that is not going to be ideal. It's not going to be optimized unless Direct Connection can step in and do something, offer up some tuning solutions for these vehicles. It cannot be that hard. They did it for the Hellcats, didn't do anything for the naturally aspirated guys, but they did it for the Hellcats. They should be able to do it for the Hurricanes. They should have already done it for the Hurricanes. Just saying. But as soon as it is available, I will be entertaining it for Pearl. I'll tell you what, man. I'll tell you this. Speaking about this, we're talking about the Hurricane 6. You know what? Pearl is the first vehicle that I've ever owned that I was not interested in tuning. Holy shit. What did he just say? Yep, I said it. That truck with that engine with those, it's a 355 geared truck. It's not a 392. That truck with those gears, with that engine in auto mode, in sport mode's aggressive in that truck, by the way. I mean, calibration engineer was not playing around when they put together the sport calibration for my truck, which, by the way, is the fourth. Is it the fourth? Third, fourth? One of the, anyway, I'll say it's the third, maybe the fourth truck that I ever drove with the standard output 6. And my truck and the GT that I drove do not run like the other trucks that I've driven with that engine in it. And I'll tell you this, my truck in sport mode is properly quick. I don't know that I really want to do anything about that. The only things that I've done to my truck, we obviously put the lowering springs on the back of it. And yes, it does have the lean to the left. They all do. The reason why they do, especially the 4-wheel drive trucks, is before you do anything, you've got 300 pounds on the left-hand side of the truck or on the left-hand side of the center line of the chassis. They're always going to list a little bit to the driver's side. So to go down that for you, you've got 2 batteries on the left-hand side of the truck. You've got the differential. It's not a solid front axle. So you have the differential that is sprung on the left-hand side. You've got the drive shaft that is obviously going to that, which has to go through a transfer case, which is also on the left-hand side. You've got the steering column and all the related crap that's obviously on the left-hand side. And then you've got the gas tank, which is on the left-hand side. The tank itself probably weighs 40 pounds, but what else is going with that is at least a bare minimum of 100 pounds of fuel. You do all the math, it's a bare minimum of 300 pounds on the left-hand side of the truck. They all lean to the left. Look, when you punch it, they all rock to the right. So, hey, I'm looking at it like old school traction aid. How about that? Anyway, which is to say it doesn't affect me in the freaking least. But anyway, the only thing I've done to that truck, MaxTrax lowering springs in the rear, and I took that weird looking Scotch-Brite pad off the bottom of the air filter just because I didn't even know that the thing had it on the bottom of the air filter. It's like one of these weird like muffle type things. Anyway, it's gone. And I mean, my truck's throwing around numbers right now that are pretty impressive. So with that being said, I don't know that I'm really a player at trying to extract a whole lot more power out of that thing. I think I'm just going to keep putting gas in it, keep maintaining the hell out of it, and enjoy the piss out of an engine that I was not a big fan of early on. I had a couple of bad experiences driving them early on, but now that I've been able to, spend some time with mine, I'm giving that truck up. Forget it. It's an awesome vehicle. Ryan said we need to step away from the Hemi and go back to the wedge heads. Yeah, well, here's the thing. They're better. Look at all the LT platform engines. That's all you have to do. Those are LS for that matter. They're all wedge. They all have cylinder heads that flow every bit as well as a set of Hemi heads. They've got better intake manifolds. They're under-cammed. That's pretty obvious. What more do you need to have a better roadmap to take? There's no reason to have the Hemi architecture unless you're force feeding it air. It's actually less efficient volumetrically than a wedge. So, well, I take that back. It is still kind of more efficient volumetrically, only because you can run bigger intake valves, but it certainly isn't more thermodynamically efficient for sure. Ryan's saying that's why this new 650 horse Ram made by Ram and Fox makes no sense. Why not just throw it Hellcat 6.2 in a street truck for 90 grand? Well, okay. You want to talk about that? First of all, why the fuck are we talking about an aftermarket partner in that vehicle? I haven't put a video out on this, but I'll go so far. I'll just tell you this. I'm disappointed. That truck is a turd wrapped in tinfoil. I'm sorry to tell you this, but you're coming into this argument at 650 horsepower. It would have been so much easier to put a Hellcat engine in it, because you already got them. Why not just put them in the thing? Put a Hellcat engine in it, make it a street truck, but you couldn't do that because there's not an HP 90 variant transmission that'll work with the transfer case. Oh, shit. Except you had the Trackhawk. Oh, wait. And isn't there a TRX? Oh, yeah, there is that. What about the Durango? Yeah, so no excuses here, guys. They've got the transmission. They've got the transfer case. They've got the engine. They've got every bit of everything else they need to make this thing. It's basically a flipping TRX with a street suspension on it. What? How the hell did you go with 5.7? What the fuck? Is it because you needed start-stop technology? We ain't here for start-stop technology. Charge me another $2 grand for gas guzzler and let me have a damn Hellcat engine in my street truck that's all-wheel drive. Here's the other way that they completely just fucked up. Why not make it Laramie, not tungsten or whatever the damn thing is? Laramie, high output, 355 gears, drop suspension. It would have been a hell of a lot less expensive. See, this is what pisses me so much off about Dodge. Explain to me the logic behind this aftermarket pairing when there are literally two trucks that you could have put a drop suspension on and had, instead of $90,000, an 80 or a 70, really more like $70,000 option, like the RHO. RHO is 70 grand, right? 72 base price. You got an off-road and you got an on-road. You could have done it, Dodge. Oh my God. This is so stupid. But no, they take a 5.7, they pair it up with supercharger, so I guess that means something, and send that into the world at a $90,000 price tag? Are you freaking kidding me? I'm sorry, but I'm too busy trying to figure out where my brain cells. This is the kind of stuff we end up becoming dumber for accepting this kind of stuff. So for me, look, this is okay. And this is one of the reasons why I like Pearl so much. I get all the torque. The thing will cruise at 100 miles an hour. It's smooth running. It's quiet. I don't really feel like there's any issue to be concerned about when it comes to longevity or durability or anything like that. The thing goes 0 to 60 in low 5-second range in the freaking heat. Well, I say low, mid to low, 5.3. What in the hell is Dodge thinking, not taking the RHO platform, put the sport suspension on it, send it. It's going to have shorter tires, put 355 gears on it, put the 22s on it. Bro, freaking kidding me? By the way, there ain't no by the way. It's just, it's dumb from soup to nuts as far as I can see it. And for those folks that are out there that are just licking their chops to buy one of these trucks. Are you brand new here? Like, did you just show up? Are you just now hearing that superchargers can fit on Hemis? Bro, you buy yourself somebody's used truck, throw a blower on it or twin turbo on it, do whatever you want, whatever forced induction package you want, go aftermarket, put the suspension on the thing, and build you a truck for half the cost. If you just have to have a Dodge, or if you just have to have a supercharged truck, Ford's already got your ass whipped with the FRP setup, which is 707 horsepower for the sleeper package, and they'll put it in anything. So, and that's a $12,000 upgrade, by the way. So if your Texas edition or your Bighorn edition costs you $50,000, then for, I don't know, call it $65,000, you can have that thing kitted out with an FRP supercharger that, come on, man. What more do you have to say? Ryan saying, for the love of God, give a single cab back. No kidding. Marco's saying C8 Stingray is killing everything for price. C8 Stingray is a really good car. C8 Z06 did it. Yeah, C8 Z06 is good stuff. But yeah, $90,000, man. Guys, I can't believe. John is in. What is up? It's saying, looked at an RHO. They are very nice looking for sure. It's a good looking truck. It is a real good looking truck. I can't, I did not get an RHO. I can't justify it. I got a smoking deal on Pearl. And because of the deal that I got on that truck, I can't really justify an RHO for work. I just put way too many miles on a vehicle. It's all highway miles, but I do put a lot of miles on a vehicle. Gary saying, I feel like Dodge jumped the shark on both the electric and the 6-pack Chargers. The 6-pack makes good power, but the exhaust sucks. Man, I tell you what, if you get too aggressive with it, like if you try to straight pipe an inline 6, like the BMW guys, those things sound like just putrid ass whenever the guys do the straight pipes and everything else. But if you set it up, if you resonate it correctly, it can sound really good. There's a certain way that you can tune an exhaust on an inline 6 that sounds amazing, and ain't nobody done it yet. I know that the Flowmaster setup, which is a straight through exhaust on the Hurricane trucks, is very low, very subtle. There's not a lot going on there, and it does sound good from what I've been told, but I've never heard one in person. But I have heard the straight pipe stuff, and I've heard them a little bit more than I'd like to admit with the Raptor guys, and those things sound, it's almost like you put a bugle on an elephant's ass. I mean, it's just when it goes, oh my God, it sounds like shit. And they have to know that it sounds bad. I mean, you're there, right? Like you're experiencing this with the rest of us, aren't you? Anyway, but that's kind of where I'm at with that. If I were to, I don't feel compelled to put an exhaust on Pearl. I really, really don't feel all that necessary. Plus, it's a huge ass exhaust. Oh, it's a huge ass exhaust. And by the way, I don't have it here. The throttle body on the Hurricane standard output, yeah, it's 4 inches in diameter. So yeah, no throttling losses there. It's saying, I agree. Yeah, if you've ever heard one, somebody tried to straight pipe it, man, it sounds like absolute just. Ryan Ryan saying, B, you have me considering a Ram 1500 H6. I'm super happy with the Eco Diesel Gen 2, but I'm kind of over the extra cost of the diesel. I do love the miles per gallon. I'll tell you what. So I'll say this. Over my F-150, Pearl is coming up on 2 points better in terms of miles per gallon. That's a good thing. That's a real thing. But you are going to have to run at least 89 octane in it, if not premium, to be able to get the kind of performance out of that engine that you would be expecting to get. And man, but I tell you, everybody that I talk about the Eco Diesel, man, everybody that I know that has one, they love it. So I don't know. I get why it's such an attractive engine. But I'll tell you this right now. If you spend time with an H6 truck, first of all, make sure you're getting one with 355 gears. That's a must. But spend some time with one of those trucks and you'll start to discover that with the right fuel in the tank, it is such a good truck to drive. I'm still a little bit taken aback with how taken I am with this thing. And it's not that I'm going through some kind of a honeymoon period with the truck. I kind of had to get something different. Kind of thought I might have stung the F-150, but that's beside the point. We're not going to talk about that. But I will say this. One of the weird takeaways for me with that Ram is that it surprises me with going down the freeway. You think you're going 65, 70, you're going 85. Even worse if you're in sport mode, because it gets aggressive, like real aggressive in sport mode, to a point where, again, I don't feel compelled to tune it. I don't need more than what it's got because it gives you quite a bit. Plus, it's good on warranty, right? I mean, there's that. But there's just so many good things going on with that truck, and I didn't think I was going to be so smitten with it. And now that I've had a chance to spend some time with it, with as fast as that standard output reacts, there's no real lag to it. In fact, there's the same amount of lag with that engine that there was with the Coyote. So go figure, right? Yeah, Ryan, like I say, everybody that I know of that's had one of the Ecos loves them. Oh, Ryan saying, Skid's saying, yeah, I ran premium in the 5.7 RT Challenger. Costco helps get the 93 reasonably. I'll tell you what, it's important with, okay, so remember what we were talking about with Atmo V8s and, you know, where we're kind of at a dead end with those things as far as, you know, the evolution. I kid you not, you have to run premium in these modern engines to extract all the efficiency and all the power that's advertised. I know what is on the window sticker and I get all of that, but okay, so let's talk about Buffy. I don't know, some of you OGs might remember this, but back in the day, I had done, you remember when I was doing all the fuel testing? Anyway, I would have in the truck, I would have the computer and I would show the short-term knock retard with, you know, 87 octane, 89 octane, 93 octane. And the crazy thing about it is that the 5.7 in Buffy would go nuts if it had 87 octane in it. But it never really seemed, I mean, that you'd have a bunch of short-term knock retard and it was just kind of in a, I don't want to say it was in a pissed off mood. From a data point of view, it was in a pissed off mood, but the truck never really felt like it ran super different until you spent some time with that truck running 89 or 93 octane in it. Then you're going, oh yeah, now I get it. Plus it would almost always get half a point better in terms of miles per gallon with 89 or 93 is what we get down here. But it would, But even the better fuel would only do so much to remove some of that short-term knock. It wouldn't always quell it. And that's a Hemi thing. You've always got to work around that. That's, kind of a phantom knock retard is something that's like a Hemi trait. It's built into its DNA. But anyway, I did a lot of that though with the Hellcat too. I did a ton of fuel testing with that car. And this was really more like, okay, if I went to Buc-ee's and put 93 octane in it, what did that look like from a short-term knock retard situation? And the car didn't like it. Then I would run Exxon in it. And how did that look? Oh, the car loves it. Okay, well, then I'd run Shell. How'd the car like it? It loves it. What about this, that, whatever? So I did a bunch of fuel tuning or fuel testing when I was in the process of tuning that car. And, I brought along the 5.7 for the ride, and it never did fail though. Every 5.7 that I ever tested was always pissed about fuel quality. So again, just goes to show you got to run quality fuel in these modern engines because they really are that advanced and they are that close to what would have been back in the day considered a hot street engine. I mean, damn, the Coyote's got 12-to-1 compression. Jeez. But in saying all of that, guys, we are coming up on 1 hour. Gary, I got to send a huge thank you over to you, man. Thank you so much for the support. I truly, truly, truly appreciate it. Good to see you again, too. Hey, we got a chance to talk Mopar stuff tonight, which is always welcome. As far as bikes go, we'll get to that on Two Wheel Tuesday. There's I don't know, I wouldn't call it disappointing news, but we just don't have anything yet on what Suzuki is going to do at EICMA, and it's not looking like they're going to announce anything for 2027. You've got some retros that are coming up. Honda's got their retro that's going to be hitting the streets. It's going to be a really good looking bike. But it looks like a lot of things are going to be status quo. We still don't have any information yet on the GSXR 1000 for 2026. So once that gets released, we'll see. Skids is saying bold new colors. Oh my gosh. Not a fan of the new colorway for the middleweights. Anyway, but we haven't seen a 40th anniversary, so maybe that'll change my mind, but it still doesn't get any of the technology that bikes like the 636 or the R9 have. And without that, you're starting to see it a little bit. The cracks in the armor are starting to show themselves with that bike just a little bit. Ryan saying, oh, the Honda Shadow 750. Yeah. Okay. So I did the ride review on the Shadow 750 and I was not bummed out by that bike at all. Matter of fact, as a runabout, it's actually really good. Oh, and hopefully, before I jet, I got to say this. Stay tuned. It looks like on Wednesday of next week, I may be able to get my hands on the NT 750. So get ready. It's a DCT bike. I've never ridden one, but I have ridden the DT 1100. Big fan of that bike, or NT, sorry. But the thing is that the 750 is significantly less expensive, and the other side of it is that it's a DCT bike, and I've kind of grown into a little bit of I kind of like them for no other reason that it's more of a novelty for me, but the technology is so good now that you cannot deny it. Skins say my buddy just scooped up an old Shadow 1100. Won't believe this. $1,000 and it runs. I'm not surprised. But with that, guys, I do have to wrap it up. Listen, get out there and do something cool for somebody. Chances are they need it way more than you know. Hope to see you on the next one. And hey, if you made it this far into the live show and you're not already subscribed, consider smashing that subscribe button. It helps the channel out way more than you know. And again, Gary, thank you so much, my man. I truly appreciate the support. Again, good seeing you in the house. But with that, I got to wrap it up. You guys take it easy.